landlords, and welcome back to our What's What Wednesday. If you're new here, my name is Michaela. I post all things property management every Wednesday and every Friday. So landlords, our what for today is going to be, what is rent ready? So we get this question a lot because this is something we say a lot. Make sure your property is rent ready. Well, by definition, what is rent ready? I mean, it varies from company to company, from landlord to landlord, from tenant to tenant. I believe collectively that rent ready means when a property is move-in ready, to where all a tenant has to do is move in their furniture, all their clothes and their belongings, and the property is ready to go. You don't need to do any major fixes, you don't need to do any painting or any of that. On top of the property being move-in ready, to where a tenant can go ahead and just bring all of their belongings and don't have to worry about anything, and your property being in presentable or great condition, you also want to ensure that your property is staying up to date with all the local rules, laws, regulations. You want to make sure that everything is up to date, up to code. There's no electrical issues, plumbing issues, no structural issues. You want to ensure that all the doors and windows properly open and close, lock and unlock properly. I would say your property is in rent ready condition. So now that we have more of the generic and a little bit more of the defined term of what rent ready means, now let's dive into just a few more interpretations of what rent ready can mean. It can consist of making sure that the property needs no further or major work before a tenant moves in. There's also no dramatic changes that need to be done, no renovations, everything's up to date as far as modern finishes, that there's fresh paint so that way the new tenant can enjoy that, and making sure that everything is neutral throughout, because you want to make this property as marketable as possible so that way you can minimize your days on market. And another interpretation of what rent ready means is that the property is livable but it's not up to date. So this means that the property is well maintained, there's no structural damage, no electrical, plumbing issues, all doors, windows work fine, but it's not the most appealing to the eye because we have more of the brass finishes, we have the green countertops, the really old finishes. So let's just say you purchased your property in the 1960s or the 1970s, and it still looks like if I were to step into your house, I step back into the 60s or the 70s. So that would be it not being up to date. Now, of course, you can rent your property this way. However, will it be the most marketable? That's in question for your area. I would do your homework and see what else is going on in the area. Now, some people define that as being rent ready because there's nothing structurally wrong with the property. There's nothing else at the property that would be a cause for a habitability issue. So other owners, property managers, landlords might say, hey, you know what, this property is rent ready. Yeah, it's not the most appealing, it's not the best looking, but there's something for everybody. All right, landlords, well, that is it for today's video. Remember, if you're new here, I would love for you to subscribe so that way you don't miss out on anything property management. If you have questions about definition of rent ready, you want tips or advice, feel free to go ahead and leave those questions, comments in the comments below so that way I can shout you out on one of our videos. However, if you want to remain anonymous to our subscribers, but you would still like for me to answer one of your questions, feel free to go ahead and click the link that is in the description for questions, and I will get back to you as quickly as possible. Thank you so much, landlords, for tuning in today. Remember, my name is Michaela, providing you with the higher standard in property management. Bye, landlords.